Hey, welcome back to Guitar for Tummies Peer Tutoring. I'm Dan Wynn, your peer tutor. So this episode, we're going to take things in a little bit different direction. We're going to be working off an acoustic guitar tonight. It's a great opportunity to show off my brand new Taylor here. So we're going to be a little bit more specialized tonight. So if worship music isn't your thing, you may not enjoy this as much as maybe some of my other stuff. That's okay. But you may still find something of value with it, because I'm going to be talking about strum patterns and dynamic, as well as alternate ways to play different songs, whether by playing in a different key or just simply using the same key but playing some alternate ways to do some of the chords. All right, so for this episode, we're going to start talking about the song called This I Believe, also known as the Creed. We're going to be playing in the key of G. So I chose G because, one, it's one of my favorite keys to play on the acoustic guitar. I think the acoustic guitar is designed to play the key of G. I heard that somewhere. I can't cite you chapter and verse or some study or whatever, but makes sense to me. So first, let's talk about the chords in this song. So if you remember my lesson, or if you've seen my lesson on the Nashville numbering system, and as well as keys and the introduction of chords and how they all fit together. So the chords in this song are G major, C major, D major, so your 1, 4, and 5, as well as E minor, and there's also an A minor that appears in this. Now, there's going to be also some of the slash chords, which I talk about in another episode, which I think was the same one that I covered, Nashville numbering system, maybe not. Anyway, look it up on my channel. You'll see in the episode title, it'll say something and slash chords. So, all right. So we have your G major. Here's the most straightforward way of playing it. You have your ring finger on the low E playing your G note, your middle finger playing the B note on your A string, and then your G, D, and B are played open. In fact, right there you've got a G chord, right? G, B, and D. And then your pinky's playing the G on the high E string, right? Another way to play this chord, which I tend to favor when I'm playing something in the key of G major, is to put your middle finger on that G note on the low E, and your index finger on the B note on the A, and then play a D on the B string here, and then of course the pinky on the high E. It's whether you play it with that or like that, it's still a G chord. The other question is, which notes do you have? So for example, in this way, you've got 3 G's, 2 B's, and 1 D. When you play it this way, 3 G's, 2 D's, 1 B. I guess the other way sounds like a better report card. Other than that, I like how either one sounds. But there's a pattern to it that I like to follow often in songs in the key of G, which makes me favor this. And so I'll explain that in a second. So you have your G major, of course, your D major, your E minor. You want to know detailed how to do these chords? I've done them in my intro to chords. I just went over the G1 here a minute ago. Post comments below if this is beyond you, but hopefully you can catch on to this. So when I'm doing this style of G, I will often keep these 2 fingers here through all the other chords. So I'll play my C major like this, my E minor like this, which is actually E minor 7 since I'm adding that D, and then my D will go like that, which is actually another kind of thing that you'll see sometimes, called a suspend chord, or suspend 2 or suspend 4. Quick demo on that. I'm not going to get into that in detail right now. Here's your D major, but if you play the G note on the high E, when you do that, it's actually the 4th note in the chord, D, E, F, G, right? 4th note. Kind of suspends it up a little bit for you, right? Or if you play the E string open, it's like a D suspend 2 or D2. It's typically the chord that most guitarists first learn how to like play some little licks around while you're playing that chord. See, kind of that phrase going all while playing that one chord. All right. So yeah, that's why I like to play that particular way of playing the G when I'm playing something in G major. There's actually some chords in this song that kind of trip that up a little bit, but we'll get to that. Now, in a previous episode also I talked about something called slash chords. And a slash chord, you'll see on the chord notation on a chord sheet, which is basically somebody will print out the words to a song and they'll put the chord names over the words at the point where they're supposed to appear in the song. So they'll have a G, then a C, then a D, etc. Well, sometimes you'll see they'll put like in this case, there'll be a G/B. What that means is the B should be the bass note of the chord when you play it like that. So in this case, again, using this particular, in this case, you really do want to have these two like so. The difference is now you're going to take your middle finger off the low E and allow your index finger to touch the low E to mute it. So instead of doing this, you have this. It's a very subtle difference, but if you listen for it, you can hear it. Instead of this, you have this as your bass note. I'll give you a quick other example that I don't think appears in this song, but typically you play a D like so, D major. Well, if you see something that says D/F hashtag, really is F sharp, you can use your thumb to fret the low E at the second fret. See? It's just a nice different bass note. Okay, so that covers our alternate ways of playing some of these chords. Next thing I want to talk about is dynamic. Okay, so there's two things that you bring to your playing within a particular song. Is you have to think about the tempo, how many beats per minute. You don't have to think about the number per se, but you want to find out the speed that you play the song and you keep it consistently there. Most of the time, with rare exceptions, the tempo of a song does not change. What changes is the dynamic. All right, and dynamic simply means how much you're going to play within a measure. A measure is 4 beats, 4 quarter notes, which I'll go back to explain. All right, if I'm going to play at a tempo that goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Each of those 4 counts is a measure. If I'm playing like so, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You're basically playing those 3 notes, the G, B, and D, simultaneously as whole notes, because you're just playing it and letting it ring for those 4 beats. If I play them twice as often, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now these are half notes. If I cut it in half again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now they're quarter notes. So use your 4 beats or your quarter notes. If I double it up again, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, those are eighth notes. And then yet again, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Those are 16th notes. So how much of each of those you're doing within a song is what's called dynamic. And especially in worship music, you'll find that in order to set the mood, the dynamic changes. It may start out really light, really, not really sure what to call it, so it may not be using like actual musical terminology here. Big shock, right? That's why this is Guitar for Dummies and I'm your peer tutor. But when you're playing less, you're playing quieter, you're playing more quarter notes, half notes, one strums. I sometimes call it when you're playing like a whole note type thing. And then it builds up. So as it builds, you're going a little bit more, a little bit stronger. You're hitting your strum a little harder. All right, so we'll start with the intro into the verse. You'll notice that the intro and the verse contain kind of an eighth note strum. So here we go. Verse 1. Okay, so let me talk about what I just did there. So, as I pointed out, the intro and the verse, the first verse, were just kind of this 2 and 3, 4 and 2. It's kind of the eighth note downward strum. And then when I got into the instrumental and into the verse 2, I picked up to the 16th note. So much more, it was still the same tempo, although maybe if you went back and actually checked it, I might have sped up. Wasn't intentional. That's, again, the thing you have to kind of guard against. But the point was, it was the same tempo song, but I started playing more intensity, more notes, and playing harder. And then when I went to let me demonstrate again, going from the instrumental wraparound into the second verse. So notice I didn't slow down. I didn't back off on the 16th note. And I know they weren't perfect 16th notes because sometimes I did some other things in that I'll demonstrate in a minute. I'll talk about in a minute. But I did back off on how hard I was strumming. You don't want to try to drown out your vocalists, whether you're the one singing or somebody else. You might want to drown me out, but most of the time you're playing with somebody else who actually can sing, and you don't want to drown them out. Although you will play harder and stronger in the chorus, but they're going to be singing louder too, so it's okay. But that's what I mean by changing dynamic. Yeah, I know it was inconsistent which different ways I was playing those chords, and you know what? That's what comes from knowing how to do it both ways. You can pick and choose. Just this song was not the best example when I would use that other style, that alternate style playing the G, because it doesn't always work well in this song for me, especially in the chorus, because when you're going from the this, that fast transition to the A minor to the C doesn't lend itself well, because you can't really do this and do a proper A minor. So, okay. So yeah, so there you go. How you would do the your changing dynamic throughout a song. You want to build up, right? Also, sometimes let me demonstrate. Also, coming from say from the bridge into the chorus, you'll see this come up often. So here's your bridge. I believe. Okay, so notice what I did there is like coming strong through the bridge, and then we kind of drop out and go back to that beginning dynamic of the one strum in the chorus, and then build as you come to the end of the chorus before you repeat it. That's also a common thing you'll see in worship songs, and that's what I was doing there. So, okay, that's how you can, see we've got, all right, so we got some time. So that's how you can vary your dynamic throughout a song. So yes, just quickly talk about some of the things I was doing there. So yes, a strict 16th note strum via one. It's rarely that boring. Sometimes you go through a period of a song, you do that. Sometimes you go through some. So what I was doing there was like a. It's really hard to describe it and try to, well, describing it's easy. Trying to play it following that description is really hard for me. Maybe for you it works. So here's the deal. As I was doing this, so I was one. So what was I doing on that? Down and a down and a down and an up, up. I can tell you what, people have tried to tell me, hey, try this strum pattern, down, up, down, whatever, or I've seen it written down. See what I did there? And I can't follow that. I just can't do it. I've been playing for 40 years, and when somebody tries to tell me to strum that way, I just get a mental block. It just doesn't get through. I can hear it, I can mimic it, I hear it like that. Well, relatively speaking. So whatever works for you, listen to that. Whatever works for you, hear it. It's just a matter, coming up, up. You're still going up and down with your hand. It's just that when you're doing the, all you're doing is missing the strings on the way down on purpose, hopefully. So yeah, so there you go with that. How you can mix up your dynamic and kind of syncopate it a little bit, whatever. And I'm probably not using that word correctly, so don't quote me on that. All right, let me talk about some other things. Sometimes you may be playing with another guitarist, even somebody else playing an acoustic as well. You have a couple options with that. One of those is the use of the good old-fashioned capo. If you're both playing in the same register, so if you're both playing your open chords down here, kind of get lost over each other. It's either you do it so well that you only hear one of you, or so badly that you don't want to hear either one of you. So you have some options. You could use a capo and play it as if you're playing in a different key. So for example, for a song in the key of G, you could capo at the 3rd fret and play it like it's in the key of E. So here's the the chorus in the key of E. Okay, now let me explain real quick. Properly done, here are the chord shapes that you'll be using. So pretending that this capo is not here and you're actually down here in the open position, here's your E major, right? This would be a proper A major. Here's a proper B major. Here's a C sharp minor. Again, these are the shapes based on assuming this is the nut and not the capo. All right, that's not what I did, is it? Now go back to that same episode, by the way, which I talked about slash chords. I talked about something called the open E method of playing the key of E, and that's basically what I used here. So standard E major. I did, for this song calls for an A minor, I did what that particular method way of doing an F sharp minor, and then to a C, and then D, E minor, back to the C, okay? But anyway, so that's one option you have. You could capo all the way up to here, the 5th fret, and play it like it's in the key of D. Let me see how this would go. I see. So this is 1, 2, 4, 5. Yeah, failed both that one. Anyway, the point is, you got your D, E, A, B minor. I was trying to do the cheater B minor there. Anyway, so yeah, you could do that. You can go to more and play it like it's the key of C. Yeah. Yeah, so you have all those options open to you. So there you go. Our next episode I'll use to demonstrate some other things in a different key than the G. If questions or comments, leave them below, and don't forget to click like and subscribe, and click the bell icon to get notifications every time I post new things. If nothing else, give you new things to laugh at and make fun of, right? All right, so we'll see you next time. Have a good night.